Hello dear friends, peace be with you. Mark Twain, the famous American writer, once said, "The two most important days of your life are the day when you were born and the day you find out why." Yes, today is my birthday, the day when I was born. But I'm so happy and joyful because I've also found out why. My story is indeed prodigal, but also very providential. It all started when I was born to my parents into a third generation conservative Orthodox Catholic family. Faith was never given priority, but my parents brought me up instilling good morals and encouraging virtuous life. My father and my mother are the most good-hearted people that I've ever come across in my life. It was their selfless sacrifice, commitment to marriage, and resilience in times of struggles paved the way for me to grow up with a sense of gratitude. My sister and I were blessed with the grace of having a heart inclined to God from a very young age. Nevertheless, my parents had their own weaknesses. Because of that, my childhood was tainted with hatred, anger, unforgiveness, and a deep sorrow. Summation of all this gave birth to a deep depression and in turn turned me into a rebel of the highest order. Since I was a rebel, I was hated by everyone around me, my parents, my friends, my relatives, my school authorities, and so on. When everyone had given up on me, I remember lighting a candle before our Blessed Virgin Mary and praying the rosary every day before I went to sleep. It all came to a climax when I was sent to do my engineering by my parents in a residential college. As I stepped into my room, I sensed a deep conviction in my heart to change my life. That day, I remember kneeling down with a rosary in my hand and tears flowing down my eyes, telling Jesus, "Touch me and save my life." God started working in me with immediate effect. I was surrounded by good friends, everyday prayer fellowship and Bible study groups. More than anything, Jesus gave me the grace to realize that I was loved by Him and my sins were forgiven. Being one among the few Catholics studying in a Protestant college, I argued in vain with my Protestant friends to explain the Catholic doctrines and establish the authority of the Catholic Church. My Sunday-going Catholic lifestyle was no match for their profound biblical arguments. After putting up a good fight, I relented to their ideas and concepts, and as a first act of betrayal against the Catholic faith, I threw the statue of Mother Mary outside my room window, never to see it again. I lived the rest of my college life as a strong advocate of Protestant teachings and even thought of becoming a full-timer to dispel the false teaching of the Catholic Church. After finishing my studies, I came back to Chennai only to be inducted into the music ministry of the Jesus Youth Movement, which is now approved by the Vatican. Still a Protestant at heart and a Catholic by practice, I lived my life neither here nor there. In the midst of my intellectual battle, I was also going through a personal meltdown. A relationship failure had dried up all the enthusiasm and zeal that I had mustered during my college days. Not able to cope up with my professional environment, I took a break to reconnect with God. I joined as a volunteer with the Don Bosco Institute of Communication Arts under the guidance of Father Harris. Little did I know that this would be the training ground where I would be introduced to the skills that I needed to start Song on Fire. After some time, forced by the need to move on with my life, I joined the Loyola Institute of Business Administration to do my management studies. Even with the dormant spiritual life that I had, I still managed to conduct prayer groups, retreats and Christmas programs for my friends on campus, even though it was a highly secular environment. Lacking the spiritual strength to stand up to what I preached and to the God I professed, my double-standard life was soon exposed and I was despised as an hypocrite and kept aside as a religious fanatic. Completing my management studies, I was excited to start my career anew. I stepped into the professional world with utter disappointment. I realized that I was nothing without the grace of God. So I focused all my energy in doing ministry for the God whom I had no relationship with. Ironically, I was a choir leader and interestingly, the coordinator of the Catholic fellowship called YCPG. YCPG in many ways ignited the spark for my journey towards the fullness of the Catholic faith. Nurturing the pride within me, I was soon addicted to power and had no place for Christian values. My team members were frustrated with me, and I was soon advised to renounce my coordinatorship from the very ministry that God inspired me to start. Meanwhile, my rebellious nature took a new shape and form in my profession and consequentially brought my career to an abrupt end on October 31st, 2015. Having hit rock bottom, I took flight to work as a volunteer in a HIV care home for children run by the St. Camillus Fathers. Stripped of everything, all that I had to give the children was myself. As Pope John Paul II would say, you increase in the measure that you give it away. Without me realizing, I offered myself at the service of the children. It opened my life once again to receive the graces from God as I was slowly becoming receptive to the voice of the Holy Spirit. One of the most important door of grace was being introduced to the YouTube videos and books of Bishop Robert Barron, the Auxiliary Bishop of Los Angeles and the founder of the Word on Fire Catholic Ministries. He answered the many questions that I had, clarified my silly doubts, and instilled knowledge in the areas of my ignorance. Eventually, he cleared the fog in my eyes to see the beauty of the Catholic Church and the fullness of the Catholic faith. At the same time, I was fervently praying to restart my professional career and was looking out for jobs outside India. My elders Bertram and Petula also advised me to wait in patience and discern the will of God for my life. Daily Mass, confession, Blessed Sacrament and Rosary made my heart fertile to be receptive to the inspirations of the Holy Spirit. Subtly but strongly, God was showing me glimpses of the mission that He had in store for me. With a renewed zeal and passion for the Catholic Church, I was looking for ways through which I could share the treasure which I had found in the Catholic faith. Initially, I was very reluctant to act, but as the voice became stronger and stronger, I found ways and means to bring my thoughts and ideas into reality. Hence, I started off with a small camera and a mic. That little act of faith and obedience has now taken form to be the Song on Fire Catholic Ministries. God inspired me to start Song on Fire in midst of severe personal struggles and financial crisis. Overwhelmed by the situation, I didn't know where to get help and how to mobilize funds. Finally, I rested my case to the providence of God. Today, God has blessed Song on Fire with enough equipments and funds to do what I'm doing right now. Every day, I sit before the Blessed Sacrament and tell Jesus, I want what you want for this ministry. Finding the mission for my life and falling in line with the plan of God has brought me so much of joy, peace, and satisfaction. Every step that I took was a step of faith, and every time, God always showed up at the right time. As Bishop Barron would say, your life is not about yourself. Find your role in the theodrama of God. These powerful statements help me submit my life completely into the hands of God. As St. Augustine says, our hearts are restless until in rest in Thee. I encourage each and every one of you to rest your life into the hands of God. When you do that, God will surely show you your life's mission. God bless you.